Hello, it's me, Gunza, and today we're going to do this review in a different position. Pause. Today's movie is Supergirl, starring Millie Alcock as Supergirl, Cora L. Supergirl. Jason Momoa as Lobo, and I cannot remember anybody else's name. It's about Supergirl who goes into a red sun planet with Crypto to make herself numb and able to get drunk and feel pain, because that is how she copes with the fact that she doesn't have her home planet anymore and she does not fit in wherever she goes. And then you have the side girl whose story is that the main villain killed her family and she wants revenge. These are things that are in the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything in here. I'm going to just talk about the movie. Jason Momoa is also in the movie as well as Lobo. He does great. Millie Alcock does great. Jason Momoa does great. Jason Momoa is really the standout in this film. So the positives of this movie is that it has a lot of action into it. It has a lot of fun action into it. And it has a sense of humor in it. And if you also had questions after watching the Superman movie about why she didn't tell Clark about certain details of Krypton that would have been useful considering what we found out in Superman, this movie, I feel like it does answer those questions if you actually pay attention to it. Millie Alcock does great as Supergirl. Jason Momoa does great as Lobo. Here goes the negatives. The negatives is that this movie at some points feels weirdly paced and edited. The sequence we see in the trailers of the side girl whose family gets slaughtered by the villain, it's done in such a quick and weirdly edited way that I didn't really fully process it, and nor did I believe that the scene was shown at its full potential. It moves along from it so quickly, you have no time to grieve over the fact that she just lost her family. How it cuts away from the scene and goes straight to her going to the bars. It's so weirdly edited in my opinion. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of action in here, but there are some fight sequences in here that just feels like it does not move the story along, or it's just killing time for no reason at all. There is some dog crap CGI scenes in here. There's like 3 to 4 scenes in here with the CGI. I was like, ugh, it's not the best. But Man of Steel didn't have the best CGI as well, so I don't want to hear any Snyder bots talking about, oh, look at this slop with this terrible CGI. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, even the Justice League movies, the Zack Snyder one even, they have bad CGI. I think they have more bad CGI scenes in those movies than this does. There is a lot of great CGI scenes in here, and there is a lot of great practical effects in here as well. So the CGI scenes didn't kill it for me completely. It's just there's like 2 or 3 scenes where it was just very noticeable. And then the villain. The villain is so generic and forgettable, and it's a shame because something about this man's performance of the villain just feels like it could have been much better if they had just given him some better dialogue, like some type of dialogue speech to just like, that is a villain. Instead, we're watching it and we're going like, that is a bad person, because he is a bad person. They do an amazing job in showing that he's a bad person. He has no remorse for anybody, and it's just a shame that it just feels like a villain gone to waste. I know there's been some people who didn't like his design because it's so drastically different from what the comic books was. I was open to it because I thought his look pretty. I thought he seemed pretty badass. If you're going for more of this pirate gritty look, then cool. At least make it worth my while. And I can't say they do enough in this movie to make it worthwhile. The major thing that also just stuck out like a sore thumb to me throughout the movie, although it has its humor and there's some humor in here that works, it feels very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. At some points I appreciate it. I even think Chris Pratt was in here. There's like a creature in here who was about to arm wrestle Supergirl, and I swear to God, his voice sounded just like Chris Pratt. I might be wrong though. There was just some humorous scenes, and even some of the action sequence with the musical pieces that they chose to have during those action sequence just felt like something you would have seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. There's even an a cappella version of a very famous song in this movie that just made me scream, Guardians of the Galaxy. And I didn't even feel that way about Superman, and I love Superman, but this movie, I just couldn't help but see it. And also, before I forget, one of the other things that kind of, I think, sets this film back a bit, but I wouldn't necessarily take it out. I don't know what you can do to change it. There's one particular flashback scene on Krypton that happens in the middle of the movie, and it lasts for quite a while. And I think that kind of takes the audience out of what the main focus of the movie is supposed to be, because even though we were in the middle of this mission of getting closer to the villain, we're now transported to a scene that's lasting for more than 10 minutes, focused on Krypton and what happened on Krypton. I think that's where this movie suffers, is the fact that it has a very weird pacing at some points. It doesn't really necessarily have one particular flow. Essentially, it kind of does just feel like a copy paste of Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, as far as not story wise, but just humor and the way how it looks. And I don't mind the way how it looks at all. I think the movie looks beautiful. I love comic book movies with color in it. I don't like comic book movies that seem like they're afraid of color. I like the colors in this movie a lot. I'm not a fan of the story and the pacing of it. It just feels like it's really all over the place, and it couldn't really focus on at least your main objective. So yeah, that's my review on Supergirl. That's how I felt about it. It's a fun movie. If you want to go see it in theaters, it is a fun space adventure movie. Do not get me wrong. I'm still looking forward to what the DCU has going forward to the future. My final rating for this movie, on Letterboxd, I gave it 3.5 stars. As far as my Jared Gunza's LFG goes, I think it's gonna have to get a 6.5 out of 10. Anywho, it's been your boy Jared Gunza. Peace.